You have walked into rooms and disappeared, not physically, but in every way that matters. You said things that went unheard. You made points that got credited to someone else 30 seconds later. You stood in groups where the energy moved around you instead of toward you, and you walked out of those rooms the same way you walked in. Unnoticed, unchanged in anyone's memory, gone before you even left. That is not bad luck. That is not introversion. That is not your personality. That is a skill gap. And skill gaps can be closed because there are men, you have met them, who walk into a room and something shifts. The air changes slightly. Conversations redirect. People who were mid-sentence find themselves glancing over. And these men are not always the tallest, the loudest, the best looking, or the most successful in the room. They carry something else, something that operates beneath the surface of appearance and achievement, a quality that makes every person they speak to feel like the most important person alive, and makes every person they do not speak to wonder why they have not been chosen yet. That quality is not charisma in the way movies sell it. It is not performance. It is not a personality type you either have or do not have. It is a precise set of behaviors, habits, and psychological principles that create a specific effect in the minds of everyone around you, and almost no one is teaching it. The world taught you to be impressive, to have the right credentials, the right clothes, the right things to say, but impressive and unforgettable are not the same thing. Impressive fades the moment you leave the room. Unforgettable lives in people's minds for days, for weeks, sometimes permanently. And the difference between those two outcomes has almost nothing to do with what you achieved, and everything to do with how you made people feel in the moments you occupied the same space. There was a thinker who understood this distinction with terrifying clarity. Dale Carnegie spent decades studying the most magnetic, most memorable, most socially powerful individuals in the world. Not the richest, not the most decorated, the ones who left the deepest impressions. And what he found stripped away every comfortable illusion about what makes a person unforgettable. He wrote, "To be interesting, be interested," 4 words that contain an entire philosophy of power. Because what he discovered, through years of observation, was that the most captivating people in any room are almost never the ones performing. They are the ones paying attention, the ones who make you feel genuinely seen. And feeling genuinely seen is so rare in the modern world that the person who creates that feeling becomes impossible to forget. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. What you are about to learn will not just change how others experience you, it will change how you experience yourself in every room you enter for the rest of your life. The first principle, your presence must arrive before your words do. Most men think being unforgettable is about what they say. It is not. It is about how they occupy space before a single word leaves their mouth. Posture, pace, the quality of stillness they carry. The man who walks into a room slowly, deliberately, without scanning anxiously to see who is watching, he has already communicated something. He has told every person in that room through body language alone that he is comfortable here, that he belongs here, that his arrival is not an audition. Most men rush. They walk fast because walking fast feels purposeful. They fill silences immediately because silence feels dangerous. But speed and noise are the signatures of anxiety, and anxiety is invisible repellent. Slow down when you enter a room. Take one breath before you speak. Let your stillness do the work that most men exhaust themselves trying to do with words. Drop this in the comments. The most powerful thing I brought into the room was my stillness. Before I said a word, people already felt it. The second principle, make every person you speak to feel like the only person in the room. This is the core mechanism of unforgettability, and it is almost never practiced because it requires something most men are not willing to give: complete, undivided, genuine attention. Think about the last time someone made you feel truly heard, not listened to while they waited for their turn to speak, not acknowledged with a nod while their eyes drifted, actually heard where you could feel that your words were landing, that this person was fully with you, that nothing else in the room was competing for their attention. How did that feel? Rare, right? That rarity is your opportunity, because in a world of distracted, half-present, performance-focused interactions, the man who gives his complete attention becomes extraordinary by contrast. Look people in the eye with warmth, not aggression. Ask one question deeper than the surface. Remember one detail they mentioned and bring it back. These are not tricks. They are the behaviors of a man who has mastered the art of making people feel valued. And people will drive across the city to spend time with someone who makes them feel valued. The third principle: speak less than you think you should. This will feel wrong. Everything in you will want to fill space, to contribute more, explain more, demonstrate more of what you know. Resist it. The man who speaks selectively, whose words are measured, whose silence is comfortable, who does not rush to fill every gap in conversation, creates an effect that the man who talks constantly never achieves. He creates anticipation. When he does speak, people listen differently, because they have learned, through experience, that when he opens his mouth, it is worth hearing. There is also a darker psychological truth at work here. The man who talks too much reveals too much. He shows his full hand. He eliminates all mystery. He makes himself completely readable. And readable things are rarely fascinating. Keep something back, always. Let there be questions about you that the room leaves with unanswered. Those questions will follow people home. Drop this in the comments. I said half as much. People started listening twice as hard. The fourth principle: use people's names deliberately and use them sparingly. This sounds almost embarrassingly simple, but the neuroscience behind it is profound. Hearing your own name activates specific regions of the brain associated with self-relevance and emotional engagement. When someone uses your name, not repeatedly, not performatively, but once, at the right moment, with genuine presence, it creates an unconscious sense of connection. It signals, I see you specifically, not the group, you. Most men either never use names or they overuse them to the point where it feels like a sales technique. The sweet spot is deliberate and rare. Once, at a moment that matters, when you want to land something, when you want a person to feel that what you are saying is specifically for them. Practice this in your next 3 conversations. Notice what changes in the quality of attention you receive in return. The fifth principle: leave every interaction with something unfinished. This is one of the most underestimated principles of social magnetism. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik Effect, the human brain's tendency to fixate on incomplete things far more than completed ones. An interaction that wraps up perfectly, that answers every question, that arrives at full closure, it ends, it is filed, it is forgotten. But an interaction that ends in the middle of something interesting, that raises a question without fully answering it, that hints at a story without finishing it, that creates a thread the other person wants to pull, that interaction stays alive in their mind long after you have left the room. End conversations at a peak, not with a conclusion, but with a provocation, not with an answer, but with a question that lingers. The man who leaves people with something to think about does not disappear when he walks out the door. He follows them home. Drop this in the comments. I stopped ending conversations completely. Now I live in people's heads rent-free. The sixth principle: have one quality so developed, so undeniable, so visible, that it becomes the thing people associate with you permanently. Most men are generically competent. They are decent at several things and remarkable at none. And generic competence is forgettable by definition. The unforgettable man has a spike, one area where his ability is so clearly above average that it creates a specific impression. This person is extraordinary at this thing. It does not matter what the thing is. It could be the precision of his thinking, the depth of his calm under pressure, the quality of his humor, the specificity of his knowledge in one domain, the way he tells a story that makes a room go silent. Find your spike. Develop it ruthlessly, because people do not remember well-rounded. They remember remarkable. And remarkable means one thing done so well that it becomes the first thing they say when they describe you to someone who has not met you yet. The seventh principle: your exit is as important as your entrance. Most men put all their energy into showing up well and then drift out of rooms and conversations without intention. But how you leave is the last data point people have before they begin forming their final impression of you. The man who leaves cleanly, who wraps up with genuine warmth, who makes the person feel that the time was well spent, who exits with the same composure he entered with, leaves a complete impression. The man who lingers, who makes his departure awkward, who overstays and then rushes out, he undermines everything the interaction built. Leave with purpose, leave with warmth, leave while the